Alright guys, very quickly we'll scaffold our application. So we'll type ng new booking. This will create our application via the Angular CLI. We would like to add Angular routing, and we would like a plain CSS to use. So this will grab all the packages and install them under a specific directory, which will be called booking. We're using Microsoft Visual Studio Code, and soon we'll open up the files here in the editor. Alright, after the project has been created, we enter inside of its directory, and now it's time to install Angular Material. So for this, first we will use the npm way of installation. We'll just copy this command from the installation guide of Angular, and we'll actually install Material, CDK and animation packages. So just once we are inside of the directory of the project, we'll install those packages. We'll need to add some additional settings to our project to use Angular Material. We will do this automatically using this command here, ng-add Angular Material. So our project should be configured automatically this way. Okay, so we just paste the command, and this will reconfigure our project. We'll choose a theme. We don't want gesture recognition, and we would like to have browser animations. So this updates our package JSON file and installs additional packages. Alright, so if we open our project with open folder and choose our project, and we can see this is the scaffolded application by the Angular CLI. Material has made changes into our files, such as if we take a look at the packages, we see that animation, CDK and Material have been added into our dependencies, as well as we have changes into our CSS loading styles. So we see here in angular.json that the styles will be loaded additionally from the Material pre-built themes. Okay, we can go ahead and type ngserve, and this will allow us to test actually the project in our browser. Our port currently is in use, so we can type sudo ls off and then -i and specifying this port, so we can see which application might use the port. So we see several, those are the process identification numbers of the programs which are using our port. We can just kill them and try again to start running our server. So just type kill -9 5350, let's say, and now let's try again to run ngserve. Okay, now the port has been released, the server is building into memory, and we can test it in Google Chrome. So type this address, localhost and the port, and we see our Angular application is running together with the Angular Material. The next thing we would like to do is to set up the application client and admin parts. So basically we have so far this structure, our application, and inside we have our routing module. We can see it here. If we go to app, we have app routing module, and it expects several routes to be provided. So far those routes are empty array here. We would like some of our modules like client and admin to be loaded dynamically based on whether the user is using them. If we load all of them simultaneously at the start of application, this will slow down our application. So that's why we are splitting application into several modules, and we are loading up lazily. Those modules we called feature modules, and we will have admin and client feature modules. They also have routing modules and several components which this routing module will load up. So let's see how we can do this in our application. Alright, we'll open up another terminal, and inside we'll create one feature module. Our first feature module will be called client, so it will be just ng generate module admin, and we will add routing to it. This command, as we see inside of our application, we have admin directory. Here's its routing module, and the whole module is here situated. Then inside of this feature module, we'll add our first component, which this feature module will load up. So we'll just use again the Angular CLI, and we'll type ng generate component, and this component will be placed inside of the directory admin. So we'll type here admin, and let's call the module admin rooms. So it will be just admin rooms. It's generated. Let's add now our feature module for the client. So we will just use again the ng generate module, but this time it will be client. So we are here in the client. As we saw before, the component here is under the admin module. So our structure is clearly defined. Okay, so we have the client, and now for the client, we'll create a component called rooms. We'll just type here generate component inside of the client directory, which will be called rooms. See, here the component appears. So if we try to browse the admin, we see that since we haven't defined which component we are loading when we are browsing this route admin, Angular outputs an error. Let's fix this. We go to our admin folder and then into admin routing module. And here for the route, we'll specify our first route. Okay, it will be the default route. So for the path, we'll specify empty path. So whenever we browse the admin, we would like to load up our newly created component. So it will be admin rooms component. So admin rooms component. As we see, the editor automatically understood and imported this component from admin rooms directory here. So we are loading up this component. This means that if we save now and again try to load up the admin path, we should be able to see the route, but still we have the same error. Of course, we have to go to our app routing module, and from there to load up this admin routing module. So here we see we have empty routes. We'll create our route for the admin module. So here we specify when we are accessing our path with the name of admin, we would like to load either specific component, or in our case, we'll load a children path. So we'll type load children, and here we'll specify our admin module. So it's located in the directory admin, then admin module, and then which class we would like to load up from this module. So we'll just type admin module here. So this will go to directory admin, and then we'll go and search for this file admin module, and we'll load up its class. So it will load up the featured module, which, since it has the routing, will load up finally our admin rooms component. Try to browse our admin path, and when we scroll here down, we see admin rooms works. This means that we are successfully loading up our module in a lazy way. Alright, let's do the same for the client module. Let's try to load it up dynamically upon a request. So just use the same syntax, but for the path, let's say we will load up the client module by default in our application, and here we would like to load from the client module, and then its class name, which is again client module with the same name. Okay, this will be the first part of the configuration. Then inside of the client routing module, we'll specify inside of the routes what we would like to load up further as a component. If we remember from the admin routing module, we can just copy the information, paste it here, and for the default path, we'll just have to replace the default component we would like to load up. It will be a rooms component. Of course, we are importing it from its directory. Okay, we are saving, and now if we try to browse just the route of our website, we see that we are loading our rooms component here on the bottom. Of course, we can go ahead and clean up a little bit our templates. So for the app component, we can successfully remove all this boilerplate code and just leave this router outlet, because it's very important for the display of our routes. So we see now when we are browsing our main URL, we see room works, and when we go to the admin part, we see admin room works. Also, if we inspect our network tab while loading the admin part, for example, from the requests, we should be able to see that we are loading here only the admin module. So we are not making a lot of heavy requests to our server. Then when we load up just the main part of the application, we see that we are loading just the client module, and this is very useful technique called lazy loading.